Love yourself, your customers, your world, your family, everyone and everything. Love is the strongest power. So, you wish to be wealthy. That is great. But who are you? That is a very deep question. Ask yourself, who am I? Your first answer may be, I am Jane, or I am Joe, or whatever your name is. Then you might say something like, I am a 28-year-old female, Croatian, short-tempered but happy, sometimes doubtful but generally confident, and so on. Really? Is that really you? Each of those things started sometime. Your parents gave you a name. You acquired your habits, personality, and disposition over time. You were born with a few of these things, and you were conceived with none of them. In other words, none of the early things are you. You leave them all here on this plane of existence when you move on to the next plane. So they are not the real you, yourself. They are jackets you wear over yourself. Jackets that you take off as time goes by. People change, and some you take off when you leave the earth. Try this. I am a 28-year-old female. Is yourself really 28 years old only? Could it have been there before you were conceived into this earth? Was it definitely male or female? You do not have to know the answers to these questions for you to get wealthy, but it is important to recognize that, just as we said and saw that you are not your circumstances, you are also not some of the things you have all along thought you were. These jackets are helpful and useful, but sometimes they hold you back. People who identify too much with their jackets, especially the negative ones, place themselves in a prison, a box, a position where they are unable to step outside the box for fearing that their self will be violated, or their self is not capable, while all along it isn't their true self. The next time you catch yourself saying, I can't do that because I am, and so on, re-examine the I am bit and ask yourself whether that is really you or a jacket you picked up along the way. A jacket that you know for sure you will one day take off, a jacket that you might as well take off now. Your body cells change daily. Your thoughts come and go. Your ego and self-image change. They are not the real you. Yourself is the timeless being that takes on all these jackets of illusion, jackets that should serve you, not hinder you, jackets that are really under your self-control, although sometimes or often you forget this. The illusions, the jackets, are very necessary. They are the tools by which your self experiences itself in the physical plane. Think about what you know so far about spirit and quantum physics. All physical objects look separate to our limited five senses, but in fact, they are part of the large pool of energy that is not separated at all. Spirit is also just one, individuated into individual people. It is individuated, not separated. Like the way the oceans of the world are individuated into waters with different depths and tides and characteristics, yet they are all one ocean. All your spirit knows is love, for it cannot kill or injure itself. It is immortal. It is also all one. It also cannot go broke, for it has everything, pure wealth and abundance. Why is it necessary for spirit to have an earthly existence then? Imagine that you were born in a very rich land where everyone was super wealthy. No one lacked anything, and all desires were fulfilled instantly. How would you ever experience the thrill of having wealth? It would be impossible. You would know you were wealthy, but this would be meaningless because you have never compared it with being poor, and have never risen out of poverty and become wealthy. See? You would need to first become broke in this super wealthy land, then appreciate how uncomfortable that felt, then work your way back to wealth and feel the thrill and experience of wealth. You cannot experience something, even if you know it, unless you create the experience of its opposite. This is the position spirit is in. It knows all but cannot experience it unless it creates a realm of illusion of not knowing and not having. Let us go back to our example. If everything in that super wealthy land were wealth, you would be unable to get poor. So you would have to create an illusion where you see only extremely small segments of your whole world at a time. Instead of seeing that you have a car, a road, house, and a shopping mall all at one go, you would only see the car. The illusion would limit your vision so that you can only see the car at first. Then after working, you start seeing the house, and so on. Then when you see it all, you feel the thrill, the experience of what you already know and have but could not experience. This is the purpose of the earthly physical experience. Another way to look at it is to think of something you really like. Think of your favorite food or even having great sex with your loved one. If you ate your favorite food all the time, at every moment of your waking and sleeping, or if you did the same with sex, do you see how the experience would cease to be an experience and become a knowing without experience? For it would be all that is. Your entire eating experience would be comprised of eating that one favorite food, and you would finally know no other eating experience, and the favorite food would cease to thrill. This is a very simple example. It gets very complicated at the highest spirit level, but at least you get the picture. Still not convinced? Okay, here's another example. The experiencing of love. Spirit is immortal and at one with all. It only knows love but cannot experience it because there is nothing to experience it against. At the ultimate level of spirit, all that exists is one, and the one knows that it is all one. It has no illusions of separation. This is what some people call God. Let us think of it as being, life, or the source, the all that is, the I am. All that is, life, being, is exactly that, all. It is not a he or she or it. It is all. There is nothing else except the one, so there is nothing the one can use to experience itself against, unless it individuates itself. The individuation and illusions start at lower levels. It is necessary to create a limited consciousness physical plane where the illusions of separation exists, and it is possible to kill a body and hurt and so on. And in this physical plane, where it is possible to act in unloving ways and do harm, love rises, and its fruits and the experience of love is then possible. Now you see that the illusion is very necessary. You, yourself, needs it and uses it. The only problem comes in when your ego makes you believe in the illusion. The ego was designed to create the illusion of separation. It is necessary. But when the illusion is taken as the reality, it no longer becomes a tool with which you can experience the greatness of your spirit and all that it has. It instead becomes a painful trap. You stop pretending that you do not have wealth and then experience the thrill of having wealth, and instead start believing that you really do not have wealth. You stop pretending that you are separate and at risk and start believing that you are. This is the cause of much suffering. Learn to use the illusion instead of believing in it. This is what Jesus meant when he said, "Be of this world, but not of it." Simply being aware of who you really are will change your life amazingly to the positive. You are spirit with a body, personality, and ego. You are not a body, personality, and ego with a spirit. Definitely, most importantly, have joy in your life. Lighten up. Do not take things so seriously. Do not be too hard on yourself and others, and let joy into the lives of people. Joy is natural. It is the soul expressing itself. It keeps the energy circulating and makes the whole ride worth it. Joy multiplies everything. It attracts, and it is fun. Enjoy. Decide at all times to not worry, to not get frustrated, to not wish you were somewhere else doing something else, and to not fear. All these are statements of not having, and they perpetuate the state of not having. Before you do anything, always ask yourself, is this who I am? Is this who I wish to define myself into a higher next? It is all inside of you. For everything you see around you, you are at cause. Why then would you hate something around you now? If you don't wish to have it around you anymore, ask yourself what part or aspect of yourself is causing it, and you will soon discover something about yourself that you would find beneficial to change. Nothing happens around you that you are not wholly or partly a cause of at some level of your whole self, even though you may not be conscious of the choices you are making that are causing your world. Condemnation and judgment keep in place that which is condemned and judged.